Hi, we are the Van Gerps, Joel, Amy, Grace, Rose, and Ruben, on January 1st to find a place to raise our children in a wholesome place and to farm. And we bought a pig farm here on the island, and we're looking forward to what the future holds for us.
Good. Okay, Joel.
Ruben.
The time of the collapse, it was 11:30 on Sunday afternoon. We were just finishing up all our chores and feeding the animals, and just checking a few things with the new mamas and their babies. We had Rosie with us, and Ruben and Grace were up in the front of the barn, and we heard a noise, and it was a rumble. It was loud, and Amy and I looked at each other, looked at Rose, and we wondered, are we going to come out of this alive?
We just run.
We looked for the outside wall. We went that way and hoped that depending in the walls would sustain that we could come out of this. Eventually the noise stopped, the rumble stopped. We looked up, we saw light in the hallway. The wall beside us was within 15 feet. It was buckled, the ceiling was starting to buckle. We knew the room beside was flat. We went for the exit. Amy took Rose outside the side door. I went the other way looking for the other two kids.
Praying that our kids were not in the rooms that were flat.
Yeah. Running down the hall, looking through the doors to see if I could see any sign. We have an employee that was at the barn at the time too. We went to look for them, and thankfully they were all out of harm's way. In fact, they didn't even know what had happened.
And we're outside at the time.
So we all made it safely outside.
Very good.
And from there, just basically made sure that kids were safe, got them into our vehicle out of the barn, and then I called Mary Grant from Cardigan Feeds. I called Brent Drake right away. I called our buyer in Ontario for our pigs right away, and within 20 minutes, all three of them had responded.
We're not exactly sure who or what made the phone call to have the firefighters here so fast from Burn River, but they came on site with a bunch of guys. They got right into looking at the safety of the building so we could move around in there, and all hands were on deck. Those guys were fantastic.
After everything was secure and we needed to rescue the pigs then, Herman Vanderbroek from Cardigan Bearing and Steel, you can see these holes in the outside of the barn. He started cutting those holes with the fire department, and they were awesome. And Vanco came out and with their big tractors and just started moving snow, and with a crew of guys and on the roof shoveling the most critical part of the roof off, and it was just, it was overwhelming that first 4 or 5 hours, just people showing up on the yard, more and more people. And then the next day, Mary had put something on Facebook and other places, and people started showing up in droves. And yesterday there were a ton of people, and you know, there must have been 30 to 40 people on the roof just shoveling so much snow. It was just absolutely fantastic.
I think we've seen probably over 120, maybe 150 different faces on the yard. People that just heard from different means of media what was happening here, and they just said, can we help out? Some people brought food, some brought water, some just to encourage, some dropping other people off, all kinds of help and support. The community has just rallied around.
Despite the cold weather, we have received a very, very warm welcome from PEI. They are just, this is what we moved here to be part of. We just didn't expect to be part of it this way and so soon.
Well, it's a good way to get to know everybody.
Yes.
So you're not discouraged and you're not thinking about going home?
You know what?
No,
God
this
is our
home.
strength. God is our strength. This is our home, and you know, through Him and His strength and grace, we can move forward and, you know, build our future with our children and raise our children in this wholesome place.
I can't move that.
We've seen God's handiwork in the people here. Their hearts are warm. They've invited us in. They're our community.
Yes,
and,
this is our home now.
This is our
Good.
home.
Very good. And your family came
Yes.
from Ontario. They were here within
Sunday
days.
already. Sunday night, family flew in from Ontario, and then more people have since driven from Ontario, and they're just, you know, family is a wonderful support, no matter where you are in the world, and it's just
How was their trip? Did everybody make it? Like it was pretty uneventful?
Very uneventful.
Yeah,
they feel like tourists, like they've never seen snow before, because whoa, look at that big pile of snow, you know? They get into snow in Ontario, but
nothing like
nothing like this.
I think we'll remember 2015 for a while.
Yeah.
Very
So
good.